Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. That was very profound, and I will say that I believe we had a very productive meeting. There were many, many points that we agreed on, most of them, I would say, a couple of big ones that we haven't quite gotten there, but we've made some headway. So there's no deal until there's a deal. I will call up NATO in a little while. I will call up the various people that I think are appropriate, and I'll of course call up President Zelensky and tell him about today's meeting. It's ultimately up to them. They're going to have to agree with what Marco and Steve and some of the great people from the Trump administration who've come here, Scott and John Ratcliffe. Thank you very much. But we have some of our really great leaders. They've been doing a phenomenal job. We also have some tremendous Russian business representatives here. And I think, everybody wants to deal with us. We've become the hottest country anywhere in the world in a very short period of time. And we look forward to that. We look forward to dealing. We're going to try and get this over with. We really made some great progress today. I've always had a fantastic relationship with President Putin, with Vladimir. We had many tough meetings, good meetings. We were interfered with by the Russia hoax. It made it a little bit tougher to deal with, but he understood it. I think he's probably seen things like that during the course of his career. He's seen it all. But we had to put up with the Russia hoax. He knew it was a hoax, and I knew it was a hoax, but what was done was very criminal. But it made it harder for us to deal as a country in terms of the business and all of the things that we'd like to have dealt with. But we'll have a good chance when this is over. So, just to put it...
All right, picture this. It's the dead of August 2025, and Alaska ain't just about grizzly bears, fishing boats, and folks in flannel anymore. Nope. This time it's center stage for the kind of political theater we haven't seen in decades. Donald J. Trump, fresh off another round of campaign rallies that look more like rock concerts than political speeches, is touching down in Anchorage to meet none other than Vladimir freaking Putin. Yeah, that Putin, the guy who's been dancing circles around NATO, playing chess while the West plays checkers. Now, people are whispering, or yelling on cable news, is this gonna be another Yalta? You know, that 1945 powwow where FDR, Churchill, and Stalin basically redrew the post-war world map over coffee and cigars. The big boys back then carved up Europe like a Thanksgiving turkey, deciding who gets what and setting the stage for the Cold War. Fast forward 80 years, and here we are again, different century, different players, but the stakes? Oh buddy, they might just be higher. Now, for the folks who slept through history class, let me break it down real quick. Yalta was where the Allies thought they were locking in peace, but what they were really doing was laying out the blueprint for decades of East versus West drama. FDR was sick, like real sick, and Stalin? He smelled weakness. Churchill tried to hold the line, but Stalin played him too. Agreements about free elections in Eastern Europe? Yeah, that went about as well as your buddy promising to totally pay you back after a night at the bar. So why are people making the Alaska comparison? Well, Trump and Putin are stepping into this meeting with the world already in a mess. China tightening its grip on trade routes, the Middle East on a hair trigger, and Europe split between standing with Washington or doing their own thing. And just like Yalta, the worry is one wrong handshake or one off-script Trump moment could lock in a whole new world order, and not necessarily one America likes. Here's the spicy part: Trump ain't FDR, and Putin ain't Stalin, but the personalities? Oh, they're just as combustible. Trump loves a deal. He's a let's make it happen kinda guy. Putin? He's the ultimate poker face, the kinda dude who'll let you think you're winning just to crush you on the last hand. And Alaska, sitting right between the US mainland and Russia across the Bering Strait, is the perfect symbolic backdrop. Every camera on Earth will be locked in, every stock market twitching, every NATO ambassador sweating through their suits. Behind closed doors, they might be talking nukes, oil prices, Arctic shipping lanes, the kind of stuff that keeps generals up at night. And if history rhymes with itself, this could be the moment where two leaders quietly agree to carve up influence zones in ways that'll have future historians going, "Yeah, that's where it all shifted." The thing about Yalta was that most Americans didn't even know what went down until years later. But in 2025, Twitter or X, or whatever Elon's calling it now, will be blowing up in real time. If Trump walks out smiling, half the country will cheer and half will scream, "Treason!" If Putin walks out smiling, Europe's gonna be panic calling the Pentagon. The stakes here aren't just about diplomacy. They're about who writes the rules for the next couple decades. Are we heading for a cold peace? A hot war? Or a weird mix where Russia and America play frenemies while China sits back counting cash? And just like Yalta, the average Joe back home will be wondering why gas prices shot up, why headlines are screaming, "Alliance shift," and why suddenly the world map looks a little different in your kids. So, will Alaska 2025 be the Yalta 2.0? Maybe. Maybe not. History doesn't copy-paste itself, but man, it sure does like to remix. If Trump and Putin walk out with a deal that rewires the global balance, on nukes, on oil, on military lines, we might be telling our grandkids about that one weekend in Alaska, the way our grandparents talked about Yalta. Or it could just be another flashy photo op where nothing really changes. But one thing's for sure, the world's watching, and this ain't just about two guys shaking hands. It's about whether America's still the main shot caller, or if we're sliding into a world where we gotta share the driver's seat with people who don't play by our rules. And just like in 45, the decisions made in some quiet conference room could ripple out for decades. Buckle up, folks. This meeting's got history written all over it, whether we like the ending or not.